Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section where we get to talk about everything. So let's try to go through the creatures first, right? So
okay, we can do the creatures.
Okay, so Chinese restaurant, we get fortune cookies.
It was like a cicada with a fucking baby head.
Yeah,
right.
It was crying.
It was like, wait, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
And I started cracking up. And then it was getting creepy, and then it had like a bat wing, and then it had like
an eyeball.
That was creepy, and I was like, oh, okay. So we're going to use CGI creatively here. At least the creatures are creative, but I'm looking at a special effect, and it's very less creepy in that way. And I thought that scene just was hilarious more. And then he's like slamming the chair down.
There were floating heads in the fish tank, like little rotting heads that were singing a Chinese song behind them. It was goofy as fuck.
That's true. I forgot about
totally
that. And I'm like, oh my god.
It's like the beginning of the interview where like they're all singing that song. It's like they're singing the same song.
I know there's some crazy hokey shit in the miniseries and in the book.
Yes.
And I guess it was just kind of paying homage to that kind of stuff. So I was like, all right, we're right at the beginning. I don't mind. It's not scaring me. You're making me laugh.
No, I was like, I'll let that pass. Let's move on to the next scene, please.
Okay. Golly, there were quite a few monsters.
There was an entire side plot, which happens immediately after this, that went nowhere and was pointless.
Try to stay in line here. So what happens after that?
The side plot.
Okay.
It's when there's the bully from back in the day.
Okay.
And he's in a psychiatric hospital and he's been there for 30 years.
Yeah, so apparently motherfucker survives this massive fall through the window. No, that boy is dead. Okay, we'll just say Penny saved him. Put a little balloon under him. He needed him to kill.
Sure, and so he's in a psych ward, and then his dead friend materializes under the bed, hands him a knife, and there's a really cool practical kind of effect.
Oh yeah, no, that was a practical when his friend is like, and then there's a cut in his fucking face, and it's separated in his jaw, and he gives him the knife. I was like, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's practical.
And so the crazy guy comes out, and he's like in league with Pennywise, and that goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
Do we ever find out what happens to him? Oh, he gets. Yeah, we do. We do. He gets killed.
Yeah.
But he like attacks them twice, and then it just ends.
Yeah, he gets an axe to the back of the head.
That's kind of pointless.
Yeah, it didn't go anywhere. I wanted.
I guess it was like, hey, you remember me? I'm very scary, but now I'm fat, overweight, and
he still has a mullet.
And he
they
still
made
has
fun
a
of
mullet.
It, so they needed the punchline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so like that's Pennywise trying to kill them.
Yeah.
Which, if Pennywise was trying to kill them, he could have killed them at will at any time.
I think it plays into the fact that he wants to scare them before he kills them. So he gets this fat, overweight guy that used to be badass. He knows he's going to do it slowly because he's anyways. So you get that, and then you have like the Paul Bundy, Paul Bundy, but
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan, wood, fucking lumberjack comes to life.
It was terrifying looking.
Yeah, with wood teeth and just splinters. And I was like, for something that is not scary at all, it turns it into something that does look scary. I was like, okay, but it was still goofy as fuck. I mean, you're taking something that's colorful and all happy face, and you're turning it into something. So again, relatively early on in the film, I'm like, is this going to be a CGI-filled nonsense, and the creature effects aren't going to be that good as compared to the first one. But no, we have a return of some of the creatures that we've seen. We had the disgusting snot fucking monster guy with the tongue. The leper that Eddie is very scared of because he's a germaphobe a little bit. Well, he thinks he's a lot of the medicine and shit he takes is placebo,
like
which I think is inhalers. Is not a real inhaler. I think that's a placebo. It's just
everything is.
Yeah. What other sort of monsters were there?
The crazy old lady.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
lady.
that was really good in the trailer, and they kept a lid on what she eventually looks to be like. You just think her legs and her arms grow, but no, this bitch is a 100% CGI effect. Her legs and arms are there. Her titties are flapping everywhere.
She's
Her
got
titties
like
are just
2
going-
more mouths on her neck.
And
Yeah.
she's got 2 more mouths, and they make a point to zoom in on them as they're screaming and taunting her, and I'm like, oh, I mean, it is freaky. There's no doubt about some old hag's titty swinging around and gross ass mouth, and she wants to
Yes.
come and hug you or get. She doesn't really want to hug you. She just wants to kill you. But it would be creepier if she's like trying to love on you or something like
Well,
the
she
old
coulda
grandma
killed
from
her.
Bill
she
and
could have killed
Ted's.
her, but she
coulda
didn't
killed
want.
her.
Yeah, Bill and Ted again. So then, so that there's that creature, and then
There's a head of a child that turns into
so
a
that
crab
one
monster.
that one was really good. That was one of the highlights for me is in terms of creature design. Like it's we are in spoilers. Of the 7 people, 2 do not make it out. So Stanley
kills himself.
he just can't stand the thought of going back. Now, in the books in the miniseries, that's pretty much it. He's like, I can't do this again, and he fucking dies, which it hits hard. It doesn't hit hard because you don't have a connection with Stanley, but when you think about it, it's like this is kind of probably what would really happen if there's a bunch of different adults and they need to go back and they were traumatized as kids. Probably not all of them are going to be okay with it. So I thought it was realistic in that sense. But in here, they try to do a happy ending for Stanley.
I thought it was super unrealistic, and I hated it because all of the characters can't remember anything about Derry at the beginning of the film.
Well, Stanley, the explanation for that, Alex, that takes care of that, is Stanley was always the weakest of them. He even was the one that got his fucking face bit, and we thought he was dead because, like, Pennywise was feeding on him. So I'm okay with the fact that even when he leaves, he doesn't fucking forget, and he's like, I can't do this. Please don't let this happen again. Oh, my God, it's happening again. And he's like, goodbye.
He ain't getting me.
Well,
But they turn it into a happy thing where it says, no, here's what I knew. I knew I couldn't handle it, so I'm taking myself off the chessboard because when y'all are together, everybody has to be together, and there can't be one person fucking it up. And ultimately, I think that's true. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool spin, but it also takes away from the hard reality.
But Eddie was fucking it up every time.
And Eddie was fucking it up every time as well. And guess what? Eddie dies as well. So after not believing in himself and then believing again when he thinks this harpoon he's got, he's almost kills the creature on his own into a happy ending. But then that's when the creature suddenly decides, okay, I'm going to stop fucking playing around here. And I'm going to kill at least that one.
Fuck you and
kills him. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But he could have done that at any point.
Any time.
But I'm still staying with my suspension of disbelief was not broken in the sense that I'm going to scare you as much as I want and torture you and then kill you. But, oh, you fucking hurt me? Okay. That's what happened to Eddie.
Well, you can believe that if you want, but they didn't,
I'm gonna believe it!
They didn't convey any of that at all.
Well, what do you want them to spell it out why the monster saying it? I'm going to toy with you as long as I want, Alex. I'm not going to kill you. Is that what you wanted?
Well, I mean, they did it better in both previous things where the Pennywise doesn't have the opportunity to just like straight up kill them, and this one he clearly has the ability to kill them at will, and it takes away some of this when they're in these situations, and you're just like, I'm not afraid for them because we still have an hour left of this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay. And so then, if you don't know, the final form of Pennywise has always been basically a spider. Almost like in the books, it's like a straight up house spider. I mean, it just is a spider. And in the series, it's a space spider, but it looks like a fucking spider, and the budget is really bad, so it doesn't look very good.
It's the only way you could comprehend.
But and I was like, please don't do the spider. And they mix the spider with the iconic look of Pennywise, and I was like, I like that because I like the way Pennywise looks in his clown form. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. So, but honestly, I wanted them to go off the rails. I wanted them to do something completely different to the book.
They should have.
And they do show some of these flashes because this is brand new as far as I'm aware. There's a ritual. So, no, an Indian ritual. They did in some of the original material, they did like sort of research some of this stuff and kind of mess around with it, but it wasn't like as big of a part of the film as this was.
Yeah.
So Mike apparently was raised by Indians, or no, at some point
He went to go visit
the Indians who have
Stole
apparently
the
their ancestors have fought this being before, and they have stories where their ancestors, did a ritual to contain his evil. Well, he was lying the whole time because, well, he wasn't lying. They did do it, but they failed. And he was like, no, they just didn't believe enough, right? So let's do our ritual. And the ritual is
damn it, Mike.
You have to have a fucking token. But it didn't make much sense because one token was the Georgie boat, which
Pennywise literally gave to him.
Pennywise had to give back to him to get that token. I thought it was the bike at first because the film makes this big deal about him getting back his bike.
Silver bullets,
Like, how the fuck is he going to put this bike into the fucking thing? And then it was the other guy's inhaler, and then Bill Hader, of course, has to make some funny jokes. He's like, that's not going to burn. Oh, you think mine's not going to burn? Yours isn't going to burn. It's going to be fucking, plastic. And then somebody puts a rock in there. I think Mike puts a rock. He's like, that's not going to burn. So I thought that was funny. But so that was just, added to the film as a way to kill them. And
it was dumb. It was the Indian, because that's the excuse for everything. We need to split up. Why? Because the Indians told me. And it's like, well, where's that thing? The Indians told me this too. It's like, you got high with the Indians once, and like,
right? It's like, you're acting like a real crazy man right now.
Yeah, you are insane.
Listen to you.
Yeah, it was really dumb. And when it comes down to it, it's still a space spider because he did crash into Earth, and he's a spider form, and then they cyberbullied him into non-existence.
That's what I was gonna say. Fucking Pennywise has a low self-esteem.
Yeah,
you just hurl words at him and you kill him.
So this is how they killed him ultimately.
Clown.
The ritual doesn't work. I think the clown was maybe just playing along with the ritual, or maybe it does have power, but it just doesn't have enough power.
Yeah,
and so Penny stops by blowing up a balloon, and the balloon gets real big and it pops, and then he comes after them. But ultimately, after Eddie is mortally wounded through the chest with a spider leg, they realize
they can insult him. Yeah.
To death.
You're a stupid clown.
Yeah.
You're a stupid doo-doo head.
Don't say that to me.
No, I'm the eater of worlds. It's like,
okay, guys. Okay. Stop it. I don't want to make fun of it because it works on paper.
Worse.
It doesn't. Neither
worse,
like you.
No, it does.
Gets so worse. Like he turns into a fucking baby.
Yeah.
And his head is like smushed against the rag. He's like,
and then he turns into a garbage pail kid.
They take his heart. He's like,
he Kali Ma's that guy and pulls out his heart.
Baby hands get on him.
As soon as he turned into a baby, I was
you checked down.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
You wish he would have stayed in spider form and then just fucking murdered his ass with green blood everywhere or something?
I would have rather that she pulls out a slingshot and grabs like a silver earring out of nowhere, and they just like they did in the old school style, because what they did was stupid.
Okay, but I want to submit a small defense.
Okay.
That on paper sounds genius because Pennywise think of it as this supernatural or sci-fi plane where he is able to use your thoughts in order to manipulate and metabolize and materialize things into existence. So if he's using the mind powers, then why can't you use the mind powers back at him? Where you turn his audio loop of feeding off your fear into a negative energy, and so instead of feeding off positive energy, he's now feeding off negative energy to become smaller and to become a baby and very weak. On paper, it sounds good, and it works. Within the lore, it works. Defend me.
No, it sounds terrible.
Defend
Even
me.
on paper, everyone would laugh at you in the writer's room, and we thought that they were going to... They made fun of Stephen King.
Me in comments.
The entire movie, they make fun of Stephen King. They even have Stephen King in this movie making fun of Stephen King.
There's a Stephen King cameo.
There's a Stephen King cameo, but they're constantly making fun of him, saying, you don't know how to finish a book, which is the biggest criticism.
They kept saying that over and over. It's so good, but the ending sucks.
But the ending sucks. And so we're like, oh, cool. Are they going to do something new at the ending? Nope. Same bullshit, but somehow
wow,
worse.
Look at that. Look at that. I actually didn't really connect those two things together.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, they're going to do something.
I just thought that was a funny side joke where it's like, no, Bill cannot end a book right. I didn't know you think that's actually
100% Stephen King.
Motherfucking Stephen King, you cannot end a book.
Yeah, if you type in Stephen King ending right now, like the first 100 things are garbage because he did a lot of cocaine.
And he ended a lot of his stories right. You're right. That makes so much sense.
Man's got a supply.
And then, following along that line of logic, they do this ending, which you think is a worse ending.
I wanted them to do something different because they hinted that they were going to.
I just explained the ending to you.
Yeah, but it was
why
bad.
it makes sense.
Well, it's
no, it doesn't. This thing is like a huge thing. It's an amazing thing. Been here for amazing years.
But his power works on metaphysical.
But as soon as you call him a stupid clown,
they call him a stupid kid. You're a mimic.
No, you're hurting me.
Words hurt, Joe. Words hurt.
Pennywise should never go on fucking YouTube comments.
Oh, seriously?
He would have died long ass time ago.
Yeah.
Look at this dumb motherfucker.
You hear
what
that?
do you say about me?
You have the power,
You
Jack.
can kill Pennywise.
Put the best insults into the comment section for Pennywise, and you will kill the intergalactic space spider.
I want to hear your best Pennywise insults.
And then it turned into
He's from space.
He gets smushed.
15 chins and got smushed into his own alien ship, and they ripped his fucking heart out. And then when he's crying like a baby, they crush it.
Yeah.
And he said, he goes, we actually respects them. He gives them a bro fist. He's like, you're all, look at you. You're all grown up.
And that's
that was really weird.
Yeah. No, that was respect amongst warriors.
So this movie brought down your
mind.
opinion of the first one, right? It made you realize that you were wrong about the 9 out of 10?
No, the first one was great. You're wrong about the first one.
I still like
and that's why you
one.
can't admit it, because you think that the two films are exactly or not exactly.
No,
but are around the same goodness. Hell no.
They're
the
real
first
close.
one was way better. No.
Like Metacritic
it
Metacritic gave the first one under a 70 and gave this one a 60?
I don't give a fuck about Metacritic. Anyway,
I'm saying, well,
so what else?
The lack of Pennywise for me, because one of the
I
things
thought this
that
had
I
more of Pennywise in clown
'cause
form.
The one I like, the library scene where they're trying to do some research. He's over there interrupting them, like fucking with all the people, and like nobody else sees him besides the adults or whatnot. But he's like telling them funny ass jokes and whatnot. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. It was kind of silly.
So
there was a lot of jokes about like the differences between the movie and the TV series, where he walks into the library. And he's like, I remember this being much
You're
bigger.
talking about the old series.
Yeah.
You're not even talking about the movie series.
What? The
You're
TV
talking
series.
about the old
TV
television
Yes.
series,
Yeah.
not this film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to see more of Pennywise just in his regular
In his
form.
regular
In his
form.
regular form, just
Yeah,
fucking with the
not doing
adults.
weird things and like giving you the tools to kill.
Well, I
him.
thought
Yeah.
there was more Pennywise in this film
I didn't
than
feel
the
like
first
there
film.
was. Well, I didn't feel like
No,
there was.
I thought there was.
Yes,
I
there
thought
is.
there was way more in the first one.
Besides, whenever he killed the two
in
kids,
his final form,
those
he's a
two-
clown the whole fucking time.
Well, he's a spider. He's a
He's a
spider with a
spider
clown
clown.
face. Doesn't mean he's a
Here,
Pennywise.
I disagree with y'all on the Pennywise in this film. I think the Pennywise was one of the better performances in what held it up. We even get to see the actor in his human form and sort of, transforming into Pennywise, and I fucking loved that. And
Yeah, that part was cool, but I wanted
Yeah.
more parts of that part. Like that, you're right.
okay.
That part was amazing.
Y'all wanted more of that.
More of that, and I wanted
More
less
Bill.
of him
I wanted
grabbing
more
onto
Bill.
you, and then his hand makes a million hands that make a million hands, and there's like fractal hand holding, and then he
Spider.
hands
You're
you.
right,
He's
you're
like,
right.
"Oh, you need this to kill me. Here, I'm gonna hand it to you." He literally hands.
He doesn't fucking know. And number one, that shit ain't working anyway because he killed those guys. He's like, yeah, fucking take it. Go try to use that shit. I'm going to laugh at you when you do it. And that's what he does. All right, guys.
Well, yeah, that's
what else?
what I was saying.
So,
I
okay,
wanted
so
to-
the
there was one scene that I want to make sure that before we forget. The opening scene of this movie is completely and totally unnecessary and had nothing to the story. It's a gay couple walking around a carnival, and they get they get mugged, like savagely beaten for no reason, and it drags on for a long period of time. And then they get murdered by Pennywise.
Yeah, it's and I turned to
insult
my
to
girlfriend
injury.
and I said, Pennywise is an equal opportunity killer.
Oh.
He'll kill gays. He doesn't care. He'll kill if you're straight,
right
or he'll
before,
kill you if
though,
you're gay.
Yeah.
He
That
gave
that
the little
was that
teddy
was
bear-
the
or not
point,
teddy
though.
bear.
This
I
was
think
a
the point
3-hour
that he's trying to make to the audience is he doesn't care.
No, I'm
There's
not talking about-
There's nobody safe from Pennywise,
Sure,
I guess.
sure, I get that. I'm just saying from the filmmaking perspective, you've got 3 hours. This was almost a 3-hour film. You spent 10 minutes doing that, and we could have had 10 extra minutes of everything else.
And I agree with you, but I thought there was something in the book or the miniseries that kind of touched on that death or the killing of some kids before the guys come back, and
There was something like that.
in order to
yeah.
show you that people are dying just because the guy's sexual orientation or whatever is different. You're right. I guess you're wondering why
It was a
kinda
really
depicted
long
in-
period of time to focus on kind of like brutal and unnecessary
Okay,
violence.
But okay, I'm just trying to figure this out. I think this ties into what I think is a hidden or a deep secret or something where two of the characters are possibly gay.
One is,
but they
one
don't
is.
want to come
Richie
out.
is.
That's what I was thinking, because the clown taunts him and says, "I know your secret."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is he talking about? I don't understand. But Richie keeps going back to a particular area and carving R plus E.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that he
Eddie.
has a romantic crush on Eddie.
Yeah.
And I have no idea whether Eddie reciprocates or whatever.
No.
But maybe
Got
that's
married.
what they're trying to tie in that in some way.
Well, the person that handed him, so the person that's tormenting Richie in the park was the guy that Pennywise killed, was one of the members of the gay couple.
Yeah,
and so
that's what I think that was supposed
that's
to
a
be
long
all about.
And as far as like the budget of time,
And
like that's a
then,
long
though,
period of time.
Right before they get beat up, he gives a girl a little stuffed animal.
Yeah,
which
and
we
then
see her
the
later
girl,
on.
we see how they keep. But I
Yeah.
think it's because Pennywise, who targets these individuals, has a longing for them to murder and feed on them. That's why these keep coming around the horror story. Which, by the way, it was a great scene. I forgot about that scene. That was Pennywise as Pennywise, where he lures the girl under the
I wanted
bleachers.
some more of that
That was
stuff.
a great
That would've
scene.
been
And
great.
he manipulates her and tries to act like a clown and says, "I can blow that birthmark." He connects with her on the fact that people make fun of her. That is so manipulative
Yeah.
from a fucking monster.
That's kind of
like
neat,
this.
but it kind of I was watching it going, wait, I thought he's supposed to.
And then
make-
he's like, "One, here, I'll blow it off your cheek in 3." And this is where the tension was building. And
Yeah.
I wanted more of
That's
that.
what
You're
I
right,
said.
you're right. So he's like, 1, 2, and then he gets that just he can't wait, and he
he's like
forgets what he's
salivating.
doing.
He's just salivating.
And
on
she's like,
it.
"You're
I'm
supposed
gonna-
to say
yeah.
3," and he goes, "Blah!" Fucking kill. I was like, "Oh my god, man! Pennywise does not kill. This movie does not give a fuck about killing kids.
yeah,
Two-
doesn't give a fuck about the fear and any of that other stuff too, because
but it loves killing
Yeah,
little kids
doesn't.
because also another
It's
time,
just
Bill,
hungry.
he was just hungry.
this little kid has now living in Bill's house." And Pennywise is taunting Bill with him because he's like, "Look, I'm going to kill another Georgie, and you're not going to be there to save him." And so he goes into, and you've seen this in the trailer, the mirror house. And that's also another great scene because, again, with the clown. You're right,
Right.
Joe. You're absolutely right. But I do like the monsters here and there. I thought there was a great mix of monsters and a great mix of Pennywise. So actually, I'm making my point for me that there is
Yeah.
plenty of Pennywise in the film. I'm right. Yo, wrong.
Those are monsters. Those are different.
The-
No, they're not
They're
monsters.
not.
I just fucking
They're not
pointed out
Pennywise.
Pennywise killed 2 kids in the
Yeah,
film.
so all the Pennywise
And he
scenes
was
were good, and there was
also-
what monster scene was good? One, half of one.
What monsters in this
What
one?
monster scene was good in this one?
I liked the one that was coming after his mom.
The leper,
gross-
the weird leper
the
scene.
leper, yeah. It was
like that
disgusting. And then I also like the grandma one, even though they overdid some of the CGI. Just make her super creepy. You don't need 15 mouths and on her chest. And
Okay, so criticism there for that one.
no, I like that one as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't like almost any of the monster scenes, and I wish that they'd focus more on that.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was
Crazy.
saying.
All right. What else? Okay, so and then they finally pay off the love storyline, which is kind of a weird payoff when you think about it, because the first film sets up the fact that the little fat boy, everybody's like, "Oh, you're fat, nobody likes you," but he's really good at poetry, and he writes a poem and he gives it to Beverly, and Beverly's like, "Wow, wow." It's revealed, and then at the end of the film, she kisses Bill. They have a connection. She really likes Bill as a person, and he's good to everybody.
Well, she thinks he wrote the
And
poem.
She, well, yes, but just because, but that's what the point I'm trying to make here is she ends up with the guy who can write the best poetry, even though she has a connection with Bill and likes Bill as a person and is attracted to Bill. It doesn't matter because he didn't write the poem. So then she ends up with the guy that wrote her the poem, right? I don't know. It's just a weird thing for me. And so in this film, it's revealed that she thought that Bill wrote the poem.
And then they kiss.
Right? Or it's reminded that they wrote the poem.
Bill's a dirty fucking cheater.
I was
Fuck
about to
Bill.
say that. It's
Bill
like,
is married. He
he's
shouldn't
married.
be kissing anyone, even if
Yeah.
they are Jessica Chastain.
It's true.
Okay, and then it is true. He's cheated. So that's why they couldn't be together. And then guess who's single? What's the kid's name? I don't know his name.
That's the one I forgot.
Danny? Is it Danny? No, I don't remember.
Whatever.
Whatever his name is.
He ends up with her at the end.
After he's dying and he
Because
starts
he's
yelling
like,
the
"I've
poem,
kept
and
your
it was
poem.
a bad scene.
I kept your poem in my wallet. Granted, it's a good poem. I'm not a poem writer, so I don't know, but guess it makes somebody fall in love with you. A single poem, and you kept it in your wallet for 27
So
years.
he kept his yearbook page in his wallet
Yeah.
for 27 years.
Right.
She left
That's
it
right.
at
That's
the
what I
house.
meant. I'm sorry. And then she realizes that he's the one that writes the poem as they bond together because as they're doing the final battle, Pennywise kicks them into their own mind dimensions where she is being tormented by her father, the mullet kid, the
Pharmacist?
pharmacist lady,
yes.
and then he is just a
Getting
bunch
buried-
of sand
buried
alive.
Alone.
And then
He's gonna die
he
alone.
recites the poem to her, which kind of knocks her out of hers, and then she ends up saving him, and then they fall
right
in
before
love.
it's like, here's Johnny. Yeah.
I don't know. I just
Yeah,
I
there's a
guess,
lot of-
and maybe that ties into what
Hey,
you were
member?
saying, that the actors
Yeah.
didn't have good enough chemistry to make that pay off.
That's what.
And
that's
to
how I
make it
felt,
be like,
honestly.
okay, yeah, Bill is not a match for her, and this is the true match. But in this was like, it's just a fucking poem. You connected with Bill because of all these things that Bill did, and you this, and then here it's like, well, Bill's married now, so who do I be with? Oh, the guy with the poem. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of weird for me. What else?
No, that's about it. I think we covered all this
No
stuff.
fucking way. It's a 3-hour movie. This should be a 3-hour goddamn review. Gotta be one or two more elements. So
Trying to
we've
think
got
of
that.
what I
We
missed.
got the love story. Boy, they really didn't care about Stanley. I mean, when fucking Eddie died, everybody was damn near crying and holding each other and stuff.
She-
Well,
But
they were there to
She did
watch him
cry.
die.
I guess you're right. That does affect you psychologically.
Well, they
a
don't
lot
remember
more.
Stanley.
And
That's the point
and
of the...
one, the remembering of the Stanley is like, that guy was a bitch. You expected him to be here? He's a little fucking bitch. God damn. And
That's
then
why
Stanley
it's-
doesn't get anything in the movie except for a letter at the end. Yeah, I killed myself.
God,
Save you guys later.
I still don't like that part because it doesn't make any sense that Stanley's the only one that remembers everything, because they're like, no, the magic of Pennywise is
Okay,
he
I did
forces
want
you-
to talk about
he,
that.
he-
So-
Pennywise forces you to forget
Yeah.
everything. No, they almost don't even remember each other. They don't remember anything about the summer. They
There's-
don't remember getting hypnotized. They barely remember killing Pennywise. It's actually hours into the meeting that they go Pennywise, and everyone goes, oh shit, we forgot.
That is a blatant plot hole, and
Yeah.
Alex is right, because in the other materials, Pennywise is noted as, I'm going to keep them away. The reason why they're forgetting in the material is because he's like, he makes them as successful people as possible, because they're the only ones, these loser clubs, that actually hurt him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I could feed on this fucking city all
Forever.
And so these people are a danger to me. I'm going to keep them away. But in this film, they keep that aspect
Where they're all wildly-
forgetting and they're successful and they don't remember much. But yet Penny is like, come back, which makes, I don't know, little to no sense.
That's
Yeah.
Mike's fault.
I guess it's
Blame Mike.
the serial killer mentality where it's like, the one that got away, I want to kill them, come back and
Myers.
let's finish them. But Pennywise is not a serial killer. He's an intergalactic fucking alien.
Space Spider.
Space spider, fine.
From the world, it didn't seem
An intergalactic meta mind meld spider,
with
because
not
he's
a
able.
thick skin at all.
Oh yeah, all you have to do is say naughty things about him, and he starts crying, and you can pull his heart.
Never survive as a YouTube personality.
Oh, seriously.
What?
Yeah.
What did you say about me?
Oh, God. You get triggered and turn into the fucking
turn
baby
into a
immediately.
Oh,
baby.
Pennywise
his
is a
first video.
snowflake?
He's a little snowflake.
Oh
Charlie.
no, Pennywise is a snowflake.
All right.
Oh,
What else?
guys, we need to make a safe space.
I like that it tied in these 3 floating balls. I thought they were gonna do more with it. I thought that was actually what they were gonna do. That's Pennywise's form, is these 3 balls.
Yeah, I was thinking
that's
that too.
alien. That's intergalactic. That's so much different from flesh and bone and carbon-based life forms. I was like, this is great. And you can even see at one point when Bill Hader throws rocks at him and actually hurts, the spider form, and he's like, yeehaw, motherfucker. He says a line, yippee-ki-yay, mother. And then, like, his guys go white. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
That was cool.
That was a really cool moment because Pennywise is not playing around no more. And he fucking hypnotizes, his jaw goes super wide. And he uses the lights to turn him into, or to give him the deadlight and make him float. But it makes a point of showing you that it's not just emanating from his body.
It's like from behind.
There's a hole in the back of his head, and there's 3 blue orbs over here that are also making the yellow orbs.
There are how many lights?
I'm like, there are 6 lights.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool. So then that's how they're going to do. And also when he summons them, it's the lights that go down into the... So maybe he is actually the lights. But I wanted them to use that a little bit more.
And it wasn't a cave,
cool.
though, right?
No, that wasn't...
Because there wasn't like...
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, so is
an alien ship?
Pennywise? I was like, wait, I don't...
They were in the bottom of the Sarlacc pit is pretty much what
but I like the fact that we don't know. I mean, that could be part of Pennywise. That's a fascinating... I didn't think it was Pennywise.
the mystery.
Thought it was fucking his ship, like Predator.
Just make it a
Predator
demon.
2,
It's so much...
Danny Glover, he goes on the ship and fucks them up.
That's a stupid ship.
They should get a fucking token, a fucking pirate gun for killing Pennywise from other Pennywises that show up. And then they all do a fucking tectonic dance at the end. That's what happens in Predator 2. Look it up.
God damn it, I remember that.
All right. I think we've covered everything.
Oh, at the end.
Which is amazing.
At the end, Mike sends out letters like, I'm going off grid. No one can find me now.
Yeah.
And he gets pulled over. The cops is like, let me see some ideas. Like, I'm off the grid. You coming with me, sir?
I don't remember that happening, Joe. Was there an after credit scene?
Yeah.
There's no after credit scene in here, which, it's a complete story. At least they did that. It's not like Pennywise.
You might not like it, but yeah, it was a complete story.
No, I love the Pennywise character. And even though this
Even the little baby, little tiny...
Yeah, I like the little tiny baby guys. I'm defending that part. You guys are shitting on it. It's fine. Yes, it looks ridiculous. And I know maybe it could have been executed slightly better.
Way better. They had this thing where they kept repeating the same thing over and over, where he's like, at least 5 times, where they said he has to obey the rules of the form that he's in, and so they're going to.
So they want to make him small.
They wanted to pull him in a small area, and then they're like, oh, he won't go in the small area. There's more than one way to make a man small. It's like, are they going to throw like cold water on him, or like? And it's like, oh no,
go swimming.
And it's just like, is that what it is? No, all right. Oh, we're just going to say bad things
make
about
it
his
really
mom.
cold in here.
Of all things, why would you think of that?
Hey man,
There's that
I don't know,
Seinfeld
Joe.
scene.
Something about Alex.
Yeah.
It was tricky.
He's compensating.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's it. I think we
Is
pretty
it,
much
though?
covered.
Question though.
Oh,
well, I
no.
guess since he was huge, he had to get smaller and smaller. Why didn't his head shrink? He just had his big ass head and a little body.
Joe, that's
Get
the
little
part.
baby arms.
Do not make fun of his disabilities, Joe. That's just the way his head fucking is. Jeez, jerk.
Oh man! As soon as I saw that, I laughed.
Oh, it was so bad. I mean, hey, look. At least they're consistent. The ending of this one was bad. The ending of the series was bad.
The ending of the series was bad. I thought it was
like I said,
hilarious
this
in the
one was
TV
better.
film. And this one
not
does
good.
it better. Yeah, this one does
No,
it
yeah,
better.
but not
I mean, you can make
good.
all the noises you want, but you have to admit it or make a choice. Is it better or is it worse?
I think it's worse. I don't like that they.
You need to go back and watch that ending on the television.
Well, no, the
show,
CG.
'cause I don't think that you.
I don't think. I mean, when was the last time you watched it?
2
I
years
actually
ago.
watched it probably like a year ago.
They were consistent, so it's bad. I'm not saying it's good, but they killed
you
a.
think that was better than this?
I think
though?
they bullied a space alien into a tiny little baby, and then
Okay,
they
no,
reached inside of his
that's
chest
what I
Yeah,
and pulled
but
his
there was
heart out.
shit in the book material that I don't know if we
No,
touched
I
on in the last review, But there was some weird, creepy fucking shit that Stephen King wrote about underage children.
Yeah, cocaine's crazy,
and
man.
Potentially gangbangs. I don't know if you know about this, Joe. Don't look this shit up, by the way.
No.
And then also the original way that they killed the spider, correct me if I'm wrong, I saw it a year ago, was like holding hands and fucking positive bullshit.
No, they shoot it with silver.
That's right.
So they use a weapon. They didn't bully him to death. They use a weapon. Yeah. And I'm fine with them using a weapon. I'm not.
Instead of bullying
you're a poopy pants monster man. It's like, no.
Stop it, Alex. You're hurting you.
But guys, they bullied the bully.
They
because they were like so mad at him. You're a bully, and then they become bullies to bully him.
This creature.
So they become what they is. Become bullies.
Yeah, bullies work. Being a bully works.
Except for the one asshole mullet guy who his story went nowhere and he died.
Yeah, he was pointless. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, fuck that guy.
All right.
I just can't get over that ending, man. Like, he's a creature that has to take a shape that you could comprehend.
Yeah. But you can't call them naughty things.
All right, so I mean, fuck it. The time for having a shorter reviewer is over. So I just was trying to look it up on my phone. 14 major differences between the movies, books, and miniseries. So The Ritual, I already touched on that. Stan's suicide was different. We touched on that. Pennywise's true form. Actually, we touched. Wow, we're getting all these.
We're good.
Bev's visions, apparently.
Yeah, that was weird.
I don't know about that. Beep, beep, Richie apparently was a funny line from the other stuff. Basically a way for them to tell Richie, shut up, you're talking too much. Mm-hmm. And here, Pennywise says it in chapter 1. And then Bev says it in chapter 2, and they're pointing out how she doesn't even know the phrase because wasn't around for that. They thought it was weird.
Yeah,
Bill's wife apparently is here in the miniseries. She plays more a factor, and that giving you a hint that, hey, don't feel bad for Bill and Bev's relationship because Bill does love his wife and he cares about her. And
he still kissed her. He's a jerk.
He is. They make him a fucking jerk, cheater guy, or whatever. But you know, it's more fleshed out here that it's like they're not going to be together. So, hey, remember that guy that wrote you a poem?
Maybe Jessica Chastain's on his list if they have one of those weird list things.
Also, I hate every single time an alien dies, his machine blows up. That's such a fucking trope. It's like his ship blows up or it's on auto-destruct or something. No, if an alien dies, his fucking ship is going to be there.
Predator's amazing.
No, Predator fucking flies off at the end. No, his ship is flies off at the end just because it's to cover up the evidence. Yeah. Well, apparently there was a storm when Pennywise dies, and a storm in the original books where it destroys everything, and that makes a little more sense. And then, of course, the sewer shit, the shit that happens in the sewer is much different.
The little kids, yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
You get a disease doing that.
Eddie's job is different. Here he's a risk analyst, and the other one he is a successful limo driving business. I don't know. Oh, okay. And then they touch on Pennywise motives, which we touched on. It makes no sense. It's like kind of come back, but I'm gonna make you forget everything, but also come back.
Remember.
Yeah. And actually it's kind of clever because if he makes him forget everything and then he's powerful again and he's made his powers up, kill them right away. When you have the fucking chance, off them one at a time before they remember how to defeat you. But no, he gets too cocky, I guess, and feeds off their fear and eventually dies. And and then Eddie's death in the original, he used his like inhaler as poison.
Battery acid.
This is battery acid.
Yeah. And that doesn't happen here. He just gets stabbed and
yeah.
He throws a fucking spear.
Fence.
Yeah, fence post.
Iron fence.
All right, guys, that's it.
There's absolutely no movies out last week or this week, so go see this one.
Yeah.
No, it's worth going to see, especially if you've seen and enjoyed the first one, just so that you can get a resolution to the story. But lower your expectations.
Lower expectations.
It's not as good as the first. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on the next show.
Buy
a
shirt.
To subscribe and ding our dong. I don't know what it's going to be over here.
Thank you very much. Actually, I should have some new shirts. Hopefully up by this time if I make this promo.
Looking pretty good.
You know the gold design that was very, very successful. We're going to be doing a silver foil design. So limited edition. Yeah, it's platinum. So bump
Yes.
Look at that.
That's some big
Thinking on
brain
my
shit
feet.
right there.
So check out the design in the store. Click the link below and grab one of these badass full shirts because they were really successful and people really liked them. And I want to do another version. All right. See you guys on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.